Good afternoon, fellow Blues. Stephen back here with another video on Wednesday, the 31st of July. Very tired, Stephen, today after a mammoth shift last night as City played Barcelona, sadly losing on penalties. Catastrophically. It was catastrophically. No, it wasn't really a big deal at all, but it was a fun game of football. And instead of doing 5 things I learned from that game, I thought this would be a good chance to look at the first 3 games of our preseason tour so far, taking in Celtic, AC Milan, and the Barcelona game, and look at 5 big takeaways from this tour so far, because it's been a really interesting tour. It genuinely has. There's been loads of little narratives, loads of little subplots, and I'm really I'm enjoying it. I'm unapologetically a preseason fan. If you know this channel, I am. I like it. I like preseason. I find it fun because of these stories that happen. Because you see mad stuff that you wouldn't see during the season because there's no stress. Players sort of express themselves and crack on with it. And I think that's the beauty of pre-season. Even if it is exhausting and late and the games don't really mean anything, they mean a lot to some of these young lads out there, and they mean a lot to some of the fans. And to be honest, I enjoy it. I enjoy the football because I like football. I don't like football because it's competitive. I like football because I like football, full stop, and watching these players go out and enjoy themselves, I don't know, it seems really pure to me, It feels a lot like watching kids in the park again, but they're actually professional footballers. It's a really weird vibe, and I love it. I would like a massive favour. If you're watching, please, can you help me massively by giving the video a like? Let's get the likes up on this video. And also, I only need 26 more subscribers. 26 to get to 70,000. Can I get to 70,000 by the end of the day? Look, I know the 26 people are going to watch this that haven't subscribed to the video. If you want to help Stephen out, you stayed up to 4 a.m. last night making videos after the game. Please do me a favour and give the video a like and then subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world for me. It absolutely mean the world to me. So please consider doing that, because I've been doing videos so regularly and I've been hammering them out. And you may have noticed as well, I've been talking about the idea of doing a podcast, which I've been planning this afternoon. Hopefully there'll be new podcast episodes coming soon to streaming services and all that kind of stuff, because I've been meaning to do that for an awful long time. It'd be different stuff to the YouTube stuff. Fingers crossed that'll get off the ground soon. I'm going to wait for 2 a week initially. Try and get a guest on. It's hard to organise guests because I'm hard to sort of nail down with times, but I'll try my best. It'll be fun, hopefully, fingers crossed. So let's start with the first thing that we learned from this game. I will jump over to my second screen. 1 second. Where am I at? Here we go. The first thing I want to talk about here we go. I want to talk about Nico O'Reilly. It's very obvious to me that Nico O'Reilly has Guardiola's seal of approval, which is absolutely huge. Now, if I was being totally honest, I would never in a million years would I have suggested that Nico O'Reilly was about to have this breakthrough that he has. Nico is a fantastic player, but 19 years old, a load of ability. But if anything, I would say he's stalled a little bit last season. Injuries have been a big part of that. But Guardiola really likes him. And Guardiola's already doing this thing that Guardiola does where he transforms a player. The first time I saw Nico O'Reilly, he was actually playing as a striker and sort of then played as a false nine and attacking midfielder. But Guardiola played him as a quasi-8, but a little bit deeper every now and then. There's sometimes that Nico O'Reilly was getting the ball from the centre-backs and playing alongside Kovacic. He was a lot deeper than usual is what I'm getting at here. And it's a really, really, really interesting tactic from Guardiola. Now, I want to go to the quote from Guardiola because it makes for very fascinating reading. He said, in the middle of last season, he trained with us, and I said, whoa, this guy is big. Normally, all the academy players are little Oscar Bobbs. Little Oscar Bobbs, by the way, is a wonderful turn of phrase. Oh, just a collection of little Oscar Bobbs. Aren't they adorable? Oh, sort of pinch their cheek. Absolutely adorable. He said, he's good in the header, so strong in the duels, and in attacking midfield, you will see him arrive in the positions. Holding midfielder, attacking midfielder. We are blessed to have these players from the academy. There was another quote as well, which I was trying to find, where Guardiola essentially said that there we go. I found it right now. He says, Guardiola said Nico O'Reilly can play with the Manchester City first team. I love to hear that. I absolutely love it. And look, this is a surprise. I know he's talented, but this change of tact with Nico O'Reilly is absolutely a surprise, even to the most hardened academy watcher, because he's never played here before in this role. So it absolutely is, a really fascinating sort of change for Guardiola. And I think it's mildly genius. I've always been a big fan of turning creative players into box-to-box midfielders because, especially in the Guardiola system, because inherently creative players are better technically than defensive midfielders. These are exceptions, Rodri, for example, is an exception, but largely your number 10s are the ones that are technical geniuses. So if you can do that, if you can teach a number 10 to run, you've got a hell of a player. If you can teach them how to defend and run, you've got a world-class player. Look what Guardiola did when he destroyed the Premier League and got 100 points and 98 points. He taught David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne how to be midfielders, central midfielders. And that combination of immense technical ability with their energy and their work rate, but with structure and organisation, you got these complete midfielders that were geniuses. I don't think you can teach someone who's a defensive midfielder, how to be a creative genius. They, of course, can better, but I don't think you can. O'Reilly is already a technically excellent player who can beat a man, can score insane wonder goals, and has a lovely eye for a pass. So, for me, I like this. I think Guardiola saw a guy as 10 and said, I'm going to bring you a little bit deeper. I'm going to make you balanced because he has that physique. I've been mentioning Rico Lewis's physique a fair bit, and people told me I've been a little bit harsh about him. I've always felt the only thing that could hold him back is a bit small. And once again, Guardiola's proved the point here. Unfortunately, size does matter. Sorry, it does matter to a certain extent. If you're 6'3" and really talented, you're going to probably go farther than the 5'5" guys really talented, simply because it's harder to push you off the ball. It's just a fact of life. It's a physical game, and those margins matter. If you've got a guy who can win headers and win duels by pushing people off the ball, that's what she said, indeed. That's what he said. That's what she said. That's what your mum said. Sorry. If you've got a guy who can push people off the ball, then it's going to help you. It's going to help you. And I do think Nico O'Reilly is in an interesting position here. Squeezer said he mentioned Guardiola mentioned Rodri. I'm going to Google that and see if I can find it. But I don't know if Pep said anything. I mean, I'd love to know if Pep did say anything about Rodri. Where are we going? I can't see any quotes about that. If anyone can find that would be really appreciated. But either way, like I absolutely love Guardiola's train of thought here. Where's it gone? I'm absolutely behind it entirely. Like, how quick is he? He's got a good turn of pace, Aiden. In the way he's not lightning quick, but he's not slow either. In the way that he's got a good turn of pace. He's just a good turn of pace. He can drop a shoulder and beat a man, and he can score wonder goals and score goals full stop. Just a really exciting talent. And I got the feeling that we could see Nico O'Reilly around the first team now. He's 19 years old. He's big and strong. And there was a really nice point from Sam Lee where he talked about how it was in 2022. Here we go. I'll go to the quote right now. It was in 2022 that Rico Lewis impressed Guardiola. Guardiola said, in the past, he realised how good Rico Lewis was. He said, during preseason, Guardiola said he can play with us. I do honestly think he's deceptively quick. I agree with Paolo Cesardin. He's junior in the chat there. Great name, mate. I do think Guardiola has become a little bit enamored with Nico O'Reilly, and he wasn't planned to. Now, what I do know for a fact is that, do you remember when Joe Shields was at Manchester City? I used to know Joe. Joe's lovely, top bloke. I used to know him quite well. And I used to sit next to Joe at academy games, and one day he showed me a list of players that he was really excited about for each academy group, and Nico O'Reilly was one of them. This is going back 4 or 5 years, so he was a young lad then, 15s, 14s, or something like that. And I feel Manchester City have always had an eye on Nico O'Reilly because he's got a little bit of magic to his game, and people saying he's a similar build to Pogba. I absolutely get that. Yeah, I can see that. And this is one of those things where I think we've got the potential here to see a rough diamond be moulded by Guardiola. I think he's going to stay around because he's not going to be pushed off the ball, and I think he's going to be part of the first team. I really do. I would not be surprised if he's on the bench quite regularly. If he gets midfield games. Look, I don't know how often he's going to play, if at all, but all I do know is that Guardiola started him every single academy game. And Guardiola, not academy game, remember tour game, and Guardiola clearly rates him. And if no one comes back, for the Community Shield game, do not be surprised if he's involved in that in some shape or form. It's very, very exciting. It's very, very exciting. And he's there entirely on merit, Nico O'Reilly. A young Manc lad as well who's been at the academy since he was a kid. I am very, very, very excited to see that. The second thing I want to talk about is Oscar Bobb. Look, this is about the preseason, so we've seen the ascension of Oscar Bobb here. Oscar Bobb has risen through the ranks, of course, last season, but Oscar Bobb, and I really feel the circumstances of this tour have played a big part of this. I do feel a lot of football is psychology. I really do. I feel like if you are presented as a superstar, you probably will be a superstar. It's sort of fake it till you make it thing. Not faking it because he is that good, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Oscar Bobb hanging around with Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland and all this photo shoots and being one of the main men in all the press stuff they do in New York and all that kind of stuff, being now one of the senior players on tour because it's all academy lads, I don't think it's a coincidence that Oscar Bobb has sort of played with a freedom of a first team player. Now, of course, everything he learned last season has kicked in, but I do think Oscar Bobb is just sort of just ready. I think he's just ready to be the main man. And he, to me, is an absolute star in the making. I'm really excited to see Oscar Bobb kick on this season. And I've got a feeling he's going to start the first few games of the season. Look, players are going to come back quite late. Don't know what shape they'll be in. And Oscar Bobb, his game has been brilliant and brilliant and brilliant. He's irrepressible right now. Like, this form he's in, this versatility he's got. He was robbed of an assist last night, a perfectly good assist with Haaland's goal not being given because of no goal line technology. But more than that, I can remember a few chances he created. He fed in Rico Lewis at one point. He fed in someone else. Picked out Haaland again at one point. He's got to start, and I think he's going to start. Iptris in the chat there. I think he will do, my friend. Right now, he's looking really, really exciting. Guys, please give the video a like. It would be massively appreciated. The third thing I want to talk about is Jack looking sharp. He is. Now, I'm not saying he's been incredible, but you can't deny he's been sharp, and I think yesterday was his best game so far in pre-season. I thought Jack looked and played like a leader. That captain's armband, Captain Jack, it suited him. It suited him. And yesterday, he was aggressive. He was running at people. And I think he's needed this. Jack has not really hidden the fact that he struggled on missing out on the England squad. And of course, last season he was on the bench an awful lot. He had a bit of a tough season last year for allegedly reasons off the pitch and so on. Some of them his own making, I don't know. But what I do know is we will see. We will see how it goes. Oh, by the way, I've just seen the quote from Squeezer about in the chat about Nico O'Reilly. I'll bring it up on screen right now. He said, this is the quote here, you'll see it. Pretty sure he can help us. His presence, he can even play the holding midfielder. He can do it when maybe Rodri's not there. We have, of course, Calvin, but we don't know what happened in this situation. That's interesting, mate. I really like that. By the way, I love someone being really negative in the chat as well about all the academy stars apparently being naff. Look, if you don't see it, mate, you're operating in binary terms there. They're either great or bad. I see potential and promise. I see rough edges, but I see potential. And I think Guardiola does too. Not everyone can see a rough diamond and see where it needs polishing. Some just see the rough. And if that's you, my friend, you go for it. But I don't get how you can watch these games and not see some talent there. I'm not saying all of them, but I think some are doing a decent job of making themselves around the squad. Don't forget, Oscar Bobb is one of those. Nico O'Reilly is definitely one of those. Thanks for that quote, mate. Really appreciate it. But back to Jack. I'm really, really encouraged. I'm really, really encouraged by his effort, his commitment. I think he looks really good. He was aggressive. He beat his man a few times yesterday, and he took a shot with his left foot, which is great. Absolutely great. I want to see more of that from Jack Grealish. Be aggressive. Be assertive. Force the issue a little bit. We know you can keep the ball until the cows come home, man. You're so good at that. But Jack Grealish, with a bit between his teeth, is a very, very, very exciting player. And I liked it. I liked what I saw from Jack Grealish yesterday. I thought yesterday he'd been getting better and better and better. Was the apex of his performance so far. And we're going to need him. We're going to need him. And I want to see more of that, Take it on his left foot, cut inside, run at people. He's done a lot of that so far. The next thing I want to talk about is McAtee on this tournament. Now, this is what I'm on about here in terms of about seeing a diamond. I don't think McAtee has been brilliant in this tour. I don't think he has. I think he's been okay. I think he's been fine. But what I do know is Guardiola trusts him. Guardiola said he's got a lot of faith in James McAtee. and he believes in him because he's been in relegation battles, because he knows how talented he is. James McAtee is a very talented footballer. I actually think James McAtee is the kind of guy that needs great players around him and a bit of time to adapt to it. I mean, once he's doing rondos with De Bruyne, Foden, Rodri, people like that, I think that's where James McAtee will find his confidence a little bit. And you got to bear in mind, for the last 2 years, he's been playing with Sheffield United players. They aren't the level. They aren't the technical ability. And he needs a lot of time one-on-one with Guardiola. Guardiola trusts him. Guardiola has told him that quite publicly in Preseason that he would like him to stay with the squad. And McAtee's, like he said, he has as well. And I think he's fact that he started all his games. He's played false nine and scored a goal. He's had a couple of nice little moments as well. Not been great. I'm not saying he's been in for more than a 6, 7 out of 10 and, just been decent. But what I'm saying is that Guardiola clearly trusts him and has made that very obvious on this tour. And he definitely looks better than the previous preseason, where he looked a lot more rushed and looked a little bit physically overawed at times. You can tell he's ready for men's football, in inverted commas. And I think, for me, James should stay around the first team. I would say that Oscar Bobb is going to step up for minutes, and it's going to be tough for James to get minutes. Absolutely is, but injuries happen. It's going to be an awful lot of football. If I was James McAtee, I would hang around, because I guarantee you he's going to get... Look, if I got 10 appearances next season, McAtee in the City first team, 10 to 15, I'd be very happy with that, because it's the best team in the world, in my humble opinion. And James is in the right place to learn that. He's had a bit of first team football, a couple of loans. Now, the best way to play a Manchester City player is being the Manchester City squad. It's not complicated. Ask Zinchenko, who forced it. You've got to be there. Even Sergio Gomez, who Guardiola barely trusted, still got a decent amount of appearances last season. Not a lot of minutes, but he got appearances. And we know Guardiola likes James McAtee because he's been very vocal about that. The last thing I want to talk about is Rico Lewis will start this season, because this has been... I think he's played every single minute, Rico Lewis, hasn't he? With no Kyle Walker back yet, Rico has been one of the senior players, and another academy prospect pushing through. And I think he's had a really decent little time, Rico Lewis. I thought he looked lively yesterday, and some of his intelligence once again stood out. And I think he's going to start the season in the way that Oscar Bobb will start. In the way that Kovacic will be, because he's available, and Grealish and so on. So I feel Rico Lewis is in a good place. He's had some good form. He got better defensively in the last game than he did the previous two. I still don't think he's a great right back, but I do think he's a great footballer. And this could be a good chance for those, for those around the squad to get some minutes early on while other players return. So yeah, I'm pretty relaxed about this, man. I feel like Rico is a cracking player, and I'm looking forward to seeing these lads get the Community Shield minutes. Rico is so smart. He's so vibrant. He's got such a technical ability. As Guardiola said a few times, it's pretty much only his height that sort of holds him back a little bit, which feels harsh to say, but it's just a matter of fact. It's hard to be physically imposing in an aggressive game when you're a little bit shorter. But he's such a smart footballer. And I like what I've been seeing. And you're right, Iptris. We haven't seen much of the inverted thing since the first game. He has been playing more of a right back and getting forward well. And to be honest, I like it. Is Kante taller? Yes, he is. Kante's 5'7". Rico's 5'5", which is very rare for an academy player. I hope he's going to grow, but I don't think he will be. I don't think he will do, personally. I might be wrong there, but I think most of the players that are smaller are around 5'7". I think Lahm's 5'7". Lahm also an absolute genius, by the way, and not saying Rico Lewis can't be, but that extra 2 inches, I don't know what it is, but 5'7" seems to be the sweet spot, doesn't it, for footballers? You look at all the Agueros and David Silvas and Bernardos and people like that, they're all 5'7", and I feel like that's just about tall enough where you don't get pushed off the ball too much, but it's just about, it's just about right way. 5'5", the extra couple of inches. I think it's easier pushing down because he's not the strongest guy. He's not the bullish guy. He's quite slight frame as well, which is it's one of those things. But either way, I believe him too. I think he's a quality player. So I loved the intelligence. Yeah, and I agree. The link up, as Tone said in the chat, the link up between Oscar and Rico was really smart. It was. They looked so comfortable together on that side, and yeah, I've got a lot of faith. It's easy to say, by the way, you should build some muscle. I'm sure he's trying, mate. It's just very hard. Some people just do not grow that much. Some people are naturally slender, and you can try all you want, but you're never going to be anything. You're not going to be a bodybuilder unless, some people it's just hard to, It's just hard because it's an athletic, physical game, It's not, It's not easy to pile on muscle, you know. Rico should stay around the first team, Victor. I don't think he should go to Girona at all. Well, someone said, where's it gone? There's a question about, does the player need to leave for McAtee? Not necessarily. We only have a small squad. He might be in the stands every now and then, but if I was him, I would absolutely just stay around and accept that I'm on the bench every now and then. But there's going to be injuries. It's going to be an absurdly long season. It's all about patience. It's all about seeing it out. So they're the 5 things I took from this anyway. Oscar Bobb is... Nico O'Reilly has the Pep Guardiola seal of approval. He absolutely does. The quotes are full of praise. Guardiola impressed with his technical ability, his physicality, his size, his strength, his ability to arrive in the box and score goals. He's got the stamp of approval there. I'm very encouraged to see his development. Oscar Bobb has announced himself as a bit of star on this tour. And what I mean by that is he's a first-team star now. He absolutely is. Jack's looking sharp. McAtee has earned Guardiola's trust. And, of course, Rico is going to start the season. Guys, thanks for watching this. Check out my match reaction if you want to see more from the game last night. I'm doing so much videos at the moment. I'm exhausted after last night. I got about 3 or 4 hours sleep last night. Not much, but I'm still here. 23 more subscribers will get me to 70,000. If you could do me a big favour, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all very soon for another video in a bit. Bye bye. Up the Blues. Bye bye.